Quick disclaimer. Information in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to be treated as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare team before making changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation, or medication.
Should snacks be eaten to keep blood sugar stable? How to eat for lower A1C without too much effort? How to gain weight and control blood sugar at the same time? And are full-fat or low-fat dairy products a better choice? We'll be exploring that and more in today's episode.
Welcome to Type 2 Diabetes Talk, the place where we chat about what really works to treat type 2 diabetes and prediabetes naturally with nutrition and lifestyle. If you're looking to optimize blood sugar and A1C, lose weight, reduce medications, and improve your overall health, this is the place to be. Now, here's your host, Type 2 Diabetes Nutrition Specialist, Dr. Jeddah.
Hello there, Dr. Jeddah here, and thanks for joining me for episode 47. Today, we've got a Q&A session, and we'll be recapping a couple of things around morning blood sugar levels, looking closer at whether including snacks helps keep blood sugar levels steady. We'll be chatting about making diet and nutrition changes for A1C control. We'll be exploring what to do to gain weight and covering whether full-fat or low-fat dairy products are a better choice. Let's dive right in with a question from Marie. Marie asked, "Why is my blood sugar high in the morning?" Well, Marie, I'm not going to answer that question here as we explained high morning levels in episode 38, along with providing effective strategies to help lower morning levels. And I'd highly recommend listening to episode 38. It's been a very popular episode because high fasting numbers are a common problem among people with pre- and T2 diabetes. In relation to that podcast, Paul asked, is it safe to take all the supplements listed above every day? Just to put that into context, there were a variety of proven strategies shared in episode 38 to help lower morning levels. And among those strategies, we covered some natural therapeutics, 6 or so supplements that have been scientifically proven to lower fasting levels. So Paul asked whether it would be safe to take all of the supplements every day. While it could be safe, as I responded to Paul, it's not really a good strategy to simply go and take every single supplement all at once. It is better to begin with one, to examine the effect, and then add additional support if necessary. For example, berberine has been shown to provide the most effective reduction for fasting glucose. So when people with type 2 diabetes were given 500 milligrams of berberine per day, 3 times per day for 13 weeks, fasting blood glucose was reduced by 68 milligrams per deciliter or 3.78 millimoles per litre. Now that's quite a large reduction, so if you're considering the supplement options, you may start with berberine and then evaluate from there. We have all the info on fasting levels and these therapeutic supplements on our website with episode 38. And first and foremost, before looking at supplements, make sure you've addressed your nutrition plan and have your daily numbers tracking in the normal, healthy range, because those things will have a big impact on your morning levels too. It's always important to make sure to start with the fundamentals before seeking other options. So listen to episode 11 too for more info on normal blood sugar levels. The next question we're going to cover today is from Tom. Tom asked, should I eat 3 normal meals and let my blood sugar fluctuate, or eat snacks between meals to keep my blood sugar steady? I've heard both recommended. What does the science say? Tom, thank you so much for this great question. So let's unpack this a bit. First off, it's important to understand that it's normal for blood sugar to fluctuate throughout the day. That's going to happen to us whether we have diabetes or not. After we eat, our blood sugar naturally rises as our body digests the food and then it gradually comes back down as insulin helps move glucose from our bloodstream into our cells. So this fluctuation, the rise and fall, is a normal part of how our body regulates blood sugar. With pre and T2 diabetes, the key is managing these fluctuations so they stay within the healthy, normal range. And we talked about healthy blood sugar levels, as I just mentioned, in episode 11. Also, something to think about is even when we're not eating or in between meals, our blood sugar can still fluctuate, and that's completely normal too. Our blood sugar isn't just going to sit at 80 milligrams per day all day, for example. The body is constantly regulating blood sugar to make sure it has the energy it needs to function, whether we're active, resting, or sleeping. So fluctuations are normal. But the idea that eating snacks between meals will keep your blood sugar steady is not entirely accurate. As we've just established, your blood sugar is going to rise in response to consuming food. So constantly eating throughout the day can lead to more frequent blood sugar spikes and fluctuations, leading to higher circulating insulin levels in the body and preventing your body from using insulin efficiently. So in relation to your question, Tom, about whether to eat 3 meals or include snacks, what the science shows us is that sticking to 3 meals a day without snacks can actually be a better way to keep blood sugar levels more stable over time. Why would this be? Because it allows your body time to process the glucose from your meal, and it encourages a period of fasting between meals, which can improve insulin sensitivity. That said, snacking is not all bad, and it can depend on where you're at in your journey. For example, during a dietary transition, where you might be moving away from carb-heavy foods to more nutrient-dense foods, you may feel you need to snack more frequently. And we often find that can be the case, and that many people may move away from snacking so frequently and toward core regular meals. But they do this a bit later in their journey, once their overall dietary transition is becoming habitual and they feel comfortable. And if that's the case, it's fine to snack. But then it comes down to the types of snack foods you choose. If you were to snack frequently on high carb or sugary foods, for example, clearly that's not going to be good, as it can cause your blood sugar to rise and fall more rapidly, leading to greater fluctuations overall. And this can create a roller coaster effect that isn't helpful for blood sugar control at all. If you feel the need for a snack, it's important to choose something low carb and nutrient dense, like nuts, some grilled chicken, or a boiled egg, for example, which can help to avoid those spikes and keep your blood sugar more stable, because proteins and fats have little influence on blood sugar levels. There's a lot more to this story on meal timing and meal frequency, and we are planning to cover these in detail more in a future episode. But for now, I hope that helps clarify that it's normal for blood sugar to fluctuate, and that snacking between meals is not a proven strategy to keep blood sugar steady, so to speak. Overall, the most important thing, whether including snacks or not, is always making sure your blood sugar levels are staying within the normal healthy range. And as I said, we've talked about healthy blood sugar levels in episode 11, so be sure to head back and listen to that episode.
Are you ready to take charge of your diabetes health? Dr. Jetta's T2 diet program has been clinically proven in a randomized controlled trial to dramatically reduce A1C, weight, and medications in just 16 weeks. The T2 diet program will guide you step by step to discover an eating plan that feels natural and sustainable for you, and most importantly, works to get results. Learn more and join the program today at type2diabetestalk.com/programs.
Right, next up, Florence said, I would like to achieve and maintain the goal of keeping my HbA1c as low as I can. I'm 65 years old and I've been diabetic for over 30 years. I've been on a daily dose of Janumet 100 to 1000 milligrams, but since a month ago, the dose is doubled. How can I eat normally and enjoy all my foods without too much effort? Please advise. Florence, it sounds like you might be saying that your medication has recently increased in dosage and that you're concerned about that and want to achieve and maintain a lower HbA1c. And this is certainly a good goal to work toward, regardless of the amount of time you've been living with diabetes. If your doctor has increased your medication, it's likely the case that your HbA1c has gone up, so being more proactive with your diet and nutrition will certainly be key to getting your levels back down to the normal range and potentially working with your doctor to reduce your medications again. Now, you mentioned that you want to eat normally and still enjoy all your foods without putting in too much effort. That's completely understandable, but it depends what you mean by eat normally and enjoy all your foods. If your HbA1c levels have gone up, then there's a high chance that the normal foods you're enjoying are increasing your HbA1c levels. So the reality is you're going to have to make some adjustments to your eating plan. You'll have to look at the types of food you're eating and switch some things for more nutrient-dense foods. You likely have to look at the amount of carbohydrate foods you're eating at each meal and either exchange these for more vegetables or start to minimise these foods by portion controlling. For example, the potato, rice, pasta and bread, etc. And I'd recommend listening to episode 6 on what to eat to treat diabetes, as we covered the best types of foods to eat and the ones to avoid. And when you say without too much effort, often the place to start is not by completely changing every single meal you eat or changing everything too fast. Just look at the regular meals and food you're eating now and make some switches. For example, if you're eating spaghetti bolognese with regular wheat pasta, switch the pasta out for vegetables, zucchini noodles or soybean fettuccine. That's still giving you the ability to enjoy the same foods, but just in a slightly different way. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Start with 1 or 2 adjustments that feel good and go from there. So thanks again for your questions, Florence, and I hope you find that helpful. Next up is a question from Karima, who asked, "You provide good information, but what do underweight people do? Will your diet help?" Karima, that's an important question and I'm glad you brought it up. We certainly recognise that not everyone needs to lose weight, and some people need to gain weight and control their diabetes and achieve better results with blood sugar and A1C, for example. I know we do focus on weight loss a fair bit, as the majority of people do want to achieve some weight loss, but you certainly can gain weight. We have other members in the same situation. We do have an extensive weight gain guide inside our VIP membership. So yes, the answer is our diet can help if you're underweight. When you need to gain weight, you'll still follow our general nutrition guidelines for blood sugar control, and then our guide helps you determine how to bring up your calorie intake to the right level to achieve weight gain. Then there's a range of practical resources to help you achieve that aim. For example, we've got lists of nutrient-dense, calorie-rich foods and how to include these in your meal plan. We've got example meal plans and how you can modify recipes and meal plans. We've also got a library of recipes, calorie-rich recipes, to more easily help you achieve your weight gain as well. And certainly if you're underweight, it's crucial to ensure you're getting enough nutrients and calories while still managing blood sugar effectively. So if you head to our website, you can find more info about the weight gain program at type2diabetestalk.com/programs. Before we dive into our last question, let's hear a testimonial from one of our members.
John said, "When I started the program, my HbA1c was 9 or 10%. At the end of the program, it was 6%, which was amazing. And I was able to reduce medication, and it just worked really well. It has now been over a year, and I've been able to prove it's sustainable. Sign up to this program because it really made a big difference for me.
The last question we're going to tackle today is one that came up among a few of our members recently that I thought would make a great addition to this Q&A. One person said, "Just wondering what is better for me, low-fat or regular whole-fat food products. I was diagnosed with prediabetes and find that a confusing food dilemma." Another person asked, "My total cholesterol and LDL are both elevated. My triglycerides are good. My HDL is high and my ratio is normal. Should I try the regular fat dairy or should I stick with low fat?" These are fantastic questions. The debate between low fat and whole fat products can be confusing, especially when you're trying to manage pre or T2 diabetes or elevated cholesterol levels, because again, there are some common narratives about this that we've all come to believe are true that aren't necessarily true, especially with new evidence available. So let's break it down with some evidence. First off, it's important to understand that the whole low-fat versus full-fat debate has evolved quite a bit over the years. And for a long time, low-fat foods were promoted as the healthier option. But recent research is showing that this isn't usually the case, especially when it comes to managing blood sugar and overall metabolic health. Several studies have shown that full-fat dairy products are not only safe, but may offer additional metabolic benefits. For example, studies have found that higher intake of full-fat dairy has been associated with a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to low-fat dairy. And this suggests that the natural fats in whole-fat products may have protective effects when it comes to blood sugar control and insulin sensitivity. Something to consider is that when you opt for low-fat versions of foods like dairy products, what happens is that those foods are stripped of their natural fats and sometimes have sugars or other fillers added to make up for the flavour and texture that fat provides. For example, full-fat plain Greek yogurt has around 6 grams of carbs, while low-fat plain yogurt has 25 grams carbs for the same serve, depending which brands, of course, but that's just one example. By consuming low-fat products and thinking they are healthier for you without considering their overall nutrition can actually lead to higher blood sugar spikes, which isn't ideal if you're trying to manage pre or T2 diabetes. On the other hand, whole-fat foods like full-fat yogurt or cheese tend to be more satisfying and can help keep you feeling fuller for longer, which may prevent overeating. They also tend to have a lower glycemic impact, meaning they won't spike your blood sugar as much as low-fat, high-carb alternatives. And research supports this by showing that diets higher in healthier fats, including those from dairy, are associated with better glycemic control and insulin sensitivity. Now, when it comes to cholesterol, we covered this topic in episode 42 and episode 44. And it's essential to understand cholesterol and get your head around the myths so you can realise that fat, and even saturated fat found in nutrient-dense food, is not likely to be an issue for cholesterol. In fact, studies have looked at dairy consumption in people with high cardiovascular risk and have found full-fat dairy to be protective with no increased risk. Overall, the research suggests that full-fat dairy products are neutral when it comes to cardiovascular risk. If your total cholesterol and LDL levels are elevated, but your HDL is high and triglycerides are in a healthy range, it's a good sign that your body is processing fats well. And remember, not all LDL is created equal, so it's likely that you could be having large, fluffy particles that aren't increasing your risk of cardiovascular disease at all. So in this case, whole-fat dairy products could certainly be included as part of your diet, especially if they're balanced with plenty of vegetables, proteins, and other healthy fat sources, which of course is what all of our members do because you're following our guidelines. And research has shown that higher dairy consumption may have a positive effect on cholesterol metabolism in people with T2 diabetes by modifying a biomarker involved in bile acid synthesis that helps with cholesterol clearance. Overall, what the research shows us is that full-fat dairy products are the most suitable choice in most cases. I think it will be worthwhile for us to have a whole episode covering dairy products in the future, but for the time being, that should help to resolve the confusing dilemma. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Take care until next week. Dr. Jeddah, over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to Type 2 Diabetes Talk. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. And for episode replays, episode notes, and more, visit type2diabetestalk.com. New episodes are available Tuesdays, 10 a.m. US Eastern Time, or your time zone equivalent. Thanks again. We're truly grateful to be a part of your life and help make a real difference.